Hello, and welcome to the Church Safety and Security broadcast with the Church Safety Guys. I am James, and I'm joined this evening by my co host, Mike Scully, and also Maddy Scholar. So, how are you guys doing?
Good.
Good,
How are
good.
you?
Good.
Welcome, Maddie.
Thanks.
So, Maddie, I kind of stumbled on, and this is an unusual an unusual broadcast recording, but I kind of stumbled on some of the things that you were working on through a friend of mine, and it was actually a retreat designed for women, and I'm really interested in it. I know some of our folks that listen would be as well. So if you would kind of talk a little bit about that retreat that you're putting together and you're working on, and how you got started with that project.
Yeah. Yeah, sure. So I guess like a little bit of background. I do full-time firearms instruction. I've been doing that for about around, let's see, 2020. From there, it went from full-time instruction to eventually what evolved into the Red Letter Project. And what the Red Letter Project is basically we take a big group of women. We spend about 2.5 days with them, and we incorporate everything from self-defense with firearms to hand-to-hand combatives to medical training. And each retreat is themed out. So, for instance, the last retreat was vehicle themed, meaning like we taught the women how to shoot through car windshields, how bullets deflect on car, like different surfaces on the car, things like that. And our
Mhm.
next one is going to be themed around low light shooting, like how to incorporate white light and flashlight with the firearm as well. The cool thing about Red Letter is it's all faith based, like it's a Christian started, like that's the core value behind all of it. Actually, the name Red Letter came from the red letters in the Bible that, in a traditional Bible, whenever Jesus speaks, they write it in red. So that's where the name came from, and it kind of just evolved into
Sure.
this big women's retreat. So yeah, I'm glad you stumbled upon it because it was really cool getting to link up with y'all's group too.
So I started looking at it, and all the time. I mean, Mike and I are always talking for listeners. You guys know, guys and gals, we're always talking about doing tactical training and the importance of it, but having a spiritual emphasis and a biblical emphasis, especially when it comes to church safety and security. And so, to me, it was just encouraging to see what you put together, because I don't think I've seen another program or retreat like this out there that has the biblical influence. Like, I've seen a lot of folks try and teach women, which is great because we're seeing far more women come up through church leadership. We're seeing far more women come up through church safety and security and get trained and be able to respond. And
Yep.
that's great as well. But at the same time, it's always nice to be able to have to do the training in an environment where that the Bible is also a big focus, and um, it's an important aspect to what you and your folks do down there. So
Yeah,
that's
definitely. And it was cool because like when you reached out, you asked me why combine the two, and it's like ever since I started the business, I had like it was weighing on my heart that that's like it wasn't just shooting, it's not just teaching, it's not just firearms instruction, things like that. Shooting is being used as an avenue to share the gospel with people. And I'm lucky enough to be able to actually, my mom is my co-instructor, like she teaches with me. So the way we kind of do it at Red Letter is it's funny. We'll train all day long. We'll train really hard. We'll do all the medical stuff, all the vehicle stuff, all the fun shooting, all that. And then at the end of the day, we wrap it up with like a Bible study and some like prayer time and fellowship with like other women there. And the cool thing about Red Letter is you don't have to be a Christian to attend. You don't have to be religious. You don't have to be anything. We open our arms to anyone who wants to give us enough to like be humble enough to take a class from us, basically. And so I think it's really fun. You get a really nice mesh of people that aren't always on the same page, which gives like a lot of perspective to things we talk about.
for sure.
That's great. I really do believe that there's a lot of women that are in the safety and security ministry and serving in that capacity that are seeking options for training, that are seeking opportunities that are not just tactical, or in some cases we use the term tactical, where it is all about the gear and the gadgets and the this and the that and the 511 shoot me first pants and the everything else. But it's we joke about that all the time, but I really do believe that there are women out there looking for better training options that are biblically based, that does add to that. And I think the idea of you engaging those women in devotion, in the ability for them to it be more than just the tactical component, to actually engage them, I think is key. We've found that the one of the big differences in developing and leading an effective team is really around engagement. You have to disciple your team. You have to disciple those folks, not only from a religious standpoint, but really to kind of bring them under your wing and lead them. They need to feel like they're part of something. And so it sounds like your event is creating not only a great opportunity for obviously the fun and the learning aspect, but that social engagement is very important too.
Yeah, definitely. And like having them centered, basically like learning how to be independent, but keeping in mind that at the focus of everything is always Jesus, right? So the reason we include more than just shooting, like it could have been just a 3-day shooting event, but we put a really heavy emphasis on the medical portion, the survival portion, like learning how to do life skills incorporated in that. Like last
Mhm.
red letter, we had one of the instructors teach how to change a tire. Like that's something that like surprisingly a lot of women don't learn when they grow up. So we're trying to include much more than just shooting, and that's like kind of like you said, trying to steer away from that tactical side and really open up the avenue for other types of questions. And it creates such a safe environment because the women are there, they're bonding with each other, they're becoming friends with people, and those are people they can leave red letter and still talk to and like still be connected with. So that's kind of the community based part of it.
And I like that you're talking about the other sorts of topics as well, because I mean, at the end of the day, shooting is great in that worst
Hmm.
case scenario, but the best sort of fight that you get into is the one that you're not present for. So, I
Yeah.
mean, the no be there concept, the
Yeah.
you probably this reference is way before you with Karate Kid, but no be there is really the side of things is you got to try to avoid the fight. And sometimes
Hmm.
the idea is if there's road rage, if there's that, changing a tire turns into a critical path incident that you need
Yeah.
to use
Oh,
to get out of the
absolutely.
way.
Yeah.
So it's big.
And you're much more likely to have to use medical supplies at some point in your life than actually like use your firearm. And most of the women that come to red letter are mothers or their grandmothers, or they have kids around them in some context. And like I think that's really valuable to learn a little bit of CPR, a little bit of like trauma wound patching, tourniquets, chest seals, things like that, things that
Yep,
like that are extremely important, especially if you're around children.
For
100%.
sure. I love you mentioned having a safe, going back to what you said earlier, Maddie, you mentioned having a safe environment. And I've got to point that out because, you know, I've been an NRA instructor for I think close to 15 years. And so I've done firearms training classes and different things like that. And um, much of my classes end up how I structure them. I drive all over Ohio. Like I'll
Mhm.
teach a class in someone's living room, and then like if they have farm property or that sort of thing, we'll set up targets and we'll shoot and that's just been my pattern. But what's interesting to me is just seeing more and more women be interested in it, but they're very much uncomfortable with the tactical aspect
Mhm.
to say,
Yeah.
okay, I'm not, you know, am I going to be judged by a bunch of guys because I accidentally dropped my magazine or I
Yeah.
accidentally did this or that?
Yeah.
And I always laugh at that because when I do a class, I coach people and we walk through slow, and oftentimes I'll have quite a few folks come up to me and say, you know what, I really appreciate how I didn't feel like I was being judged. I felt like you were just helping me try to learn something new. And what's so funny to me is we put so much on our head about how things should be and the
Mhm.
judgment aspect of it, worried about what everybody else thinks. it's like, in fact, I think the last drill that I did with a church, I ended up dropping my magazine and looking like a complete idiot
It
myself in the
happens.
middle of what I was doing. So
Yeah.
stuff like that happens for sure, but it's just nice to be able to have an atmosphere where um, you have a team to help you and your mom, and you have a couple instructors, and um, it's just a good, well-rounded group of folks to be able to accommodate that and help people learn in a non-threatening, non-challenging environment. So
Yeah, and it's cool because you mentioned that too. A lot of women, even if they're in the industry, they usually aren't given the opportunity to do certain things. So, like, one of the reasons why I brought vehicle dynamics into the last retreat is because, like, how many women have had the opportunity to shoot through a car? Like, that usually isn't offered to people that aren't heavily involved in like special parts of the military, or that, you know, those type of classes on the private side are usually not that inclusive, at least in like my
right,
experience. So I was like, why not? Why can't they do it? They can do the same thing everybody else does. So we threw some cars out there, gave them a class on it, and they did awesome. Like, they picked it up faster than anybody else I've ever seen. And same thing for the next red letter. Like I said, it's low light base, but we're also throwing in some night vision stuff. So Proving Grounds, similar to tactical games, but a little bit different. Proving Grounds is one of our official partners, and they were nice enough to let us borrow 10 sets of night vision, which is like 10 grand a piece. So we have these
Well,
really expensive night vision units that we're allowing the ladies to use, and we're going to do some walks and like show them how to use it and everything. And that's something that most women don't get to do in their lifetime. And like, if you haven't sat there and looked at the stars through night vision, you're missing out. So it's like, I want to provide these opportunities for people that don't usually get to do
you're
these
making
things.
me want to come, honestly, to the because I'm sitting here and I'm thinking, I've never shot out of a vehicle. I've never had night goggles
yeah.
on.
It's a
But
good
I've
time. Come
taken a
down to
yeah,
South
few.
Carolina. We will definitely take care of you.
it's pretty funny. But yeah, Mike's gotten to do all the fun stuff and fun shooting down in Texas because he's got all sorts of fun
Connections.
neighbors around him and
Resources.
connections. Yeah.
I'm in the backyard, and I saw that you had some MMA experience as well, and so you'll get the reference. I've actually been able to do some rolling and shooting with Tim Kennedy,
There you
so
go.
so it's been interesting to say the least. But he has his training company is based outside of Austin, and
Oh,
that's
okay.
where I'm at. So it works out
Yeah,
pretty cool.
interesting. That's cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
rolling is definitely a big part of my life as well. Last red letter, we included some combatives, like jujitsu style combatives.
Hmm.
We're not going to do it this next time just because we don't have time, because we have a stacked up itinerary. But in future red letter, the combatives will probably be back as well. Because yeah, getting in the gym and understanding how people move and how people interact, like in those type of environments, especially under stress, like, it is
Yep.
a really valuable tool to have. And
Sure.
things like jujitsu are super long term. Like, you got to do it for a long time to actually get good at it. But what it does is, even if it's short term, is it shows you how you react under stress and under those type of situations. Like, the first time that you have somebody actively trying to hurt you or get on top of you or whatever, it needs to be in a controlled environment, as opposed to the first time that happening being in real life. And just
Right.
having that stress test and understanding how your body's going to respond and how your mind's going to respond is really valuable. And that's why jujitsu and martial arts is so important. And at Red Letter, like I said, we stress that, the importance of that, and try to give people just a little bit of a touch of it so that they know what to go home and look for.
Yeah, there's so many mechanics to a lot of the different arts and things like that, as far as
Mm-hmm.
jujitsu, etc. That it's not, yes, you're not training for a formalized fight with rules and things like that, and it's not about
Mm-hmm.
scoring points. It's really what I picked up with it is really the idea of, if you're in that fight, you're doing damage. Your goal is to literally get out of that fight, get away,
Mm-hmm.
and if there's a weapon at play, you're trying to control it, and because that is the life or death moment. But you're absolutely right. I think stress testing yourself, even rolling with somebody who's stronger, more powerful, more trained, whatever than you, that pushes you to your breaking point, or to a limit where you almost pass out, that's a good thing because you learn where that is and you learn to fight harder next time.
Yeah, and you also know when, like, what your limits are. Like, I'm 115 pounds, like soaking wet. I'm pretty small. I know what my limits are, and I know I'm probably not going to do too much damage to somebody that's 6 foot tall and 200 pounds. But I at least know like how to put up a good fight and how to control my mental status as like if that were to happen. And none of us can know that for sure, but like we can definitely train to our highest standards, like in places like the gym where it's controlled and it's safe.
And a lot of times that's just you can use advantage of speed and other things to help.
Pocket
I
sand.
mean, exactly. Anything that matters at that point, that just a split second faster is not just about the mechanics of force. Sometimes it's the dynamic of doing it first. And I
Or
think that's
yeah,
big.
or just learning the indicators before something happens in the first place. Like that's also a big part of it. But that goes back to situational awareness, which you were talking about earlier.
Right. Absolutely. Which comes into play no matter what, whether you're changing that tire on the side of the highway that you're training for, whether you're at the gas station pumping gas, any number of those, or whether you're in church and you're just watching for something that's outside of baseline, and you're trying
Yep.
to understand is that not normal? Is that something that doesn't look right? Is that something that I should respond to in some sort of way? And then you're really kind of going through that processing of observing, orienting, deciding, and acting at that point.
Yep. Definitely.
Kind of jealous of both of you. Now I feel like I need to go out and practice my my jujitsu and hand-to-hand skills
Well, the good thing is
that are
we did get to.
non-existent.
I mean, what was it? It's over a year now, but we did get to do the executive protection course together and throw you
Yeah.
around in the car as the principal and things like that. So that was
Oh
fun.
my goodness. Yeah, I'm not gonna
Sounds like a
forget
good time.
that anytime too soon. Actually what was funny about it was we had a Suburban, not a Suburban, a Tahoe, and that we were using as a vehicle, and for some reason I just kept getting picked as the principal and thrown in the back of the seat in the back of the vehicle by everybody, and I think we were down there 3 days.
Yep,
And so when I
good
got
course.
home, like I walked in the door and my wife was like, "Hey, I scheduled you a chiropractor appointment." And I'm like, "Sweet. Thank you so much." She's like, "I
Such a
kind
good.
of figured you'd be sore and in poor shape." And I'm like, "I don't know if that's a compliment or not."
Aw, she's looking out
But
for you.
There you go.
but
So
it was
Maddie,
pretty
tell us more
cool.
about the next event, when that is, where that is, and how can people get engaged and connected and sign up.
Yeah, so the next event is going to be August 20th through the 22nd. All the information's on the website, but for the most part, the best thing for people to do is to go, like I said, on that website and go to media content and watch the last recap video from the vehicle dynamics class. That was really cool, and it will show you exactly what we do at Red Letter. As far as applications go, it is application based, and they opened up this past Monday. They'll be open until this upcoming Monday at 10 a.m. I don't remember the exact date of this upcoming Monday, but if anything, like all people need is an intro level or gun safety class or some like level of just awareness of gun safety. Tell me that in your application. Tell me that you've like taken an intro class somewhere. It doesn't really matter from who. That's like our intro level standard, I guess. Um, Besides that, we don't really require any experience because we start everybody from level 1 anyway. So when they get there, we hope they have some gun safety experience under their belt, but we still go over all the safety stuff and then we start from square one and work their way up. So there's not, a lot of people I think get intimidated by seeing the social media stuff go on there because like I'm a huge fan of having a bunch of cool videos up there, but at the same time, like no need to be worried. We take intro level beginners or we take advanced people. Like I said, we start everybody from square one, so it doesn't really matter. But yeah, apply on the website. It's super easy. Just a couple questions about you, like why you want to be there, your previous firearms experience, and like just some logistical stuff. Send in your application, and then we're still doing. Let's see, it'll be open, like I said, till Monday. The first 10 applicants that are selected are going to get a free backpack body armor panel from Safe Life. So basically, like a bulletproof panel that you can put in your kid's backpack or your backpack or whoever's. And that's always really fun. So the Safe Life is one of our
Nice.
sponsors.
Very nice.
Hmm.
I have my vest in the other room
Yeah, yeah, they make good
from
stuff.
them. Yep,
Last
it's
time,
good.
last red letter, they did the same thing, and we actually took one of the panels, and I had 3 girls dump a entire magazine all at the same time. So 3 whole magazines into the same panel, and nothing went through. It was amazing.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
The
great.
body cameras, there's all
Sure.
sorts, even the earwig and everything else. There's
Hmm.
different degrees of folks that are out there that are either from smaller churches, and so all of this change, all of this evolution, if you will, and growth into the world of church safety and security. None of it's really new to the idea of protection. The idea of
Hmm.
bringing it into a church setting is, and so you're
Hmm.
dealing with literally just people's mindset of encountering change, and they're not people dislike change by nature. So we're trying to help kind of educate folks and help them understand that, hey, there are tools and resources out there that can make us safer, that can make your church safer, that can help you respond in an incident better. And so that we're all about having the right tools at our fingertips in order to be successful as a safety and security team.
Awesome. Yeah, that's good stuff.
It's great. Thanks for coming on and sharing with our audience the offering that you have out there. It's great to hear you again combining the both the tactical as well as practical and biblical elements into a single event, and providing that for women where there's not as much opportunity, and partnering even with your own mother to help deliver courses that were, I mean, it creates, obviously that brings a dynamic that just it tells a story right there, of what type of event it is. So if you're out there in church safety and security world, if you will, and you're looking for a good training to go out and bond with some other women and kind of do so in a biblical setting, check out the website and sign up.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you guys so much for having me on. Like I said, if people want to go on the website and apply, they'll be open until this upcoming Monday. So can't hurt to throw in an application, get some more information, watch the video and all that. If anybody's out there that wants to sponsor or donate to the Red Letter, we also have some information on the website for that as well. But thank you guys so much for having me on the podcast. I had so much fun talking to y'all, and it was really nice to meet you too.
Awesome.
Sounds good.
Yeah, we enjoyed talking to you. So until next time, guys, we will talk to you later. Take care. God bless.